One of Dr. Glasser's conditions for a quality education is a warm, need-satisfying atmosphere that fosters positive relationships. This type of learning environment, Glasser states, gives children the strength to cope with the parts of their lives that are more challenging and less need-satisfying. In Dr. Glasser's quality schools, multi-grade classrooms are utilised to create this supportive environment. Spending 3 years with a class enables teachers to accumulate an in-depth knowledge of students' personalities, learning styles, strengths and weaknesses. This longer contact reduces time spent on diagnoses and facilitates more effective instruction. It also helps teachers build better relationships with parents. For students, having the same teacher and classmates for 2 or more years provides stability and builds a sense of community. This emotionally supportive environment helps to make inclusion successful. At the Grand Traverse Academy, students in the elementary school are grouped in grades 1st through 3rd and 4th through 6th, with the same teacher for 3 years. Teacher Jackie Popp says that with the multi-grade approach, older students helping younger students occurs quite naturally, and that helpful environment easily extends to the stronger students helping those with learning difficulties. Having students work cooperatively to complete an assignment is one of the goals for the lesson in this video, taught by Jackie Popp.
My name is Jackie Popp, and I am a lower elementary teacher at Grand Traverse Academy. This is my 3rd year teaching at Grand Traverse Academy and my 20th year as a teacher. And I enjoy working with the 1st through 3rd grade students. Today I'll be teaching a lesson, a science lesson that my students will be participating in, discussing the similarities and differences between moths and butterflies. In my classroom, since we have 1st through 3rd grade with different ability levels, when the students are working in cooperative learning groups, the peers will be helping them with different activities. And as far as like writing with my students, when it's time for them to write, sometimes we'll use an orange marker where they can trace over any writing that we're doing to help them with their sentence structure. Also, the students one-on-one. They'll have one-on-one either with myself or with another student to complete an activity. Today what I would like to do though, since we've been talking about the life cycle, by the way, what type of animal is a butterfly? Maggie?
It's an insect.
It's an insect. And I thought it would be fun for us to talk about the similarities and differences between a butterfly and another insect that's very similar. You know which one I'm talking about, Jacob?
The moth.
The moth, yes. And today I'm going to be sharing some information from some books that I borrowed from the Traverse City Library. And we're going to talk about how butterflies and moths are the same and how they are different. And by using that information, we're going to create a Venn diagram. And from that, you're going to become detectives, butterfly and moth detectives. And you're going to look at some pictures and see if you can figure out from the different characteristics that we place on the board if your pictures, by working in small groups, are butterflies or moths. You're going to become insect detectives. So I'm going to go ahead and label our Venn diagram before we begin sharing information. And I have 2 books that had some very interesting facts about butterflies and moths. The name of this book is called Butterflies and Moths. And I'm just going to share 2 pages with you that have a wealth of information about the 2. It says, which is which? They don't creep and crawl like beetles or ants, but butterflies and moths are insects just the same. They belong to the insect group, which means scaly wings. Most butterflies are colorful, while moths are normally dull. Moths usually have thick, hairy bodies and feathery antennas, or feelers. I have 3 special needs students in my classroom. I'm proud of their progress. As far as reading, writing, and math, we've seen progress on all 3. I have one student that she's been able to identify words now, where in the past, she really didn't understand the process of reading. So that makes her feel wonderful. And she will come in now and want to share books during our story time or read aloud. And I will sit with her and we'll read together to the class. My other student, we're working on math, addition, subtraction, and he has also shown progress where he's no longer using manipulatives. He's able to come up with the simple facts by memory now. Parts: a head, thorax, and abdomen. They also have 2 large pairs of wings, antennae, and eyes. Right now they're telling us how the moth and the butterfly are how they're the same, how they're similar. The tip of the butterfly's antenna always ends in a club. Well, they just shared with us how the butterfly is different than the moth. And Devin, if you were to look at the antenna of a butterfly, what would you see on the end of it? Okay, but what would you see on the end of it that would be different from a moth? What did we say in the story? Can someone help him out, Abby?
A little black dot.
A dot, or they called it like a club? Right, so it's a little bit thicker on the end. Good. The wings of the butterflies and moths are covered with lots of scales like dust, which give them their color. And you had talked about scales. Good job, Julia. Asleep on the leaf. Most moths are small with short wings and a stubby body. When they rest, moths often slide their wings over each other into a triangular shape. Can you make the shape of a triangle with your hands? Okay, so this is kind of what they would look like when they're in the sleeping stage. Their bodies and their wings would be shaped like that. Okay, good job. Let's see. Addie, have you ever seen moths flying around at night when you're at your house? Do you remember what color they were?
White.
Okay, you've seen white ones sometimes? Good. And like I said, there's always an exception to the rule. Good. So these are just some very basic characteristics that you need to know when you're out this summer camping or outside playing and you see these different insects flying around, and you can tell your best friend, I know this is a butterfly, or I know this is a moth, because of what we learned during our science time. Okay, let's take this information now and place it on our Venn diagram. Let's start out with how they are the same. And I would love to hear from all of my students, please. Would you tell us how both the moth and the butterfly are the same? It's very important for teachers to model how we help one another and also teaching in the classroom. The special needs students in my classroom, they fit right in with the other students because they understand, all of my students understand that we have different abilities. And these students work together to complete projects and they feel successful in the classroom. Jackie?
They both can fly.
Okay, they can fly, you're right. What else did we learn from the book? Julia?
They both have antennas.
That's right. They have wings, they have antennas. Okay, good. Now, you know what? I know you want to share some more information. Let's talk about how they are different. And we'll start with the butterfly first. And why are we putting this information on the board? Dominic, why are we doing this right now?
So we know more about butterflies.
And you're going to be, remember insect detectives? And you're going to try to figure out by looking at pictures what is a butterfly and what is a moth. Good job. Okay, I want to hear about my butterflies. Special characteristics.
They have colorful wings.
Okay, they're very colorful, yes. We talked about the monarch butterfly that's orange and black, that's beautiful, and the blue morpho butterfly that's from the tropical rainforests. Let's see, Dominic, go ahead and share.
Butterflies don't fly in the night.
Okay, good. They fly during the daytime, right? Good job. Good observation. I'm glad that while I'm writing my words on the board, my students are thinking about what they're going to share next. Jackie?
Butterflies, they have a club at the end of their...
Good job. Using this information and the information that we shared in the book, I am going to have you work in groups of 2. And some groups might have 3 in them. And what you are going to do, I'd like everyone to look at Ms. Pop, please. Good, so that you know what your job is as an insect detective. I would like you to look at 2 different pictures, and you are going to remember the different characteristics of butterflies and moths. And what I'd like you to do is, for example, by looking at this picture right here, try to figure out with you and your partner if this looks more like a butterfly or a moth. And then you'll have 2 pictures, and we'll come back together and we'll see how well we did as detectives. When we're working in small groups, all of us have what? Important jobs. And when we're working in cooperative learning groups, we have our
Leader.
we have our
Voice monitor.
we have our
Supply person.
and our,
Writer.
depending on what our activity is. And why do you think that? Having students in a multi-age classroom, it's wonderful where you have different abilities, students at different grade levels where they can work together. My students that may be in a 2nd or 3rd grade level or on up will help some of my younger students when we're working on projects together. It's really the students, they understand that everyone's unique in the classroom, that everyone is working at different levels, so they're willing to help one another. No one feels bad about what level they're at if they're not able to write an elaborate paper like someone else, because they work together as a team. Boys and girls, come on back, please. Please, would you sit by your partners? Let's find out how our insect detectives did with their activity. Good job. I like how you're helping your friends right now, boys and girls. You're doing an awesome job working together. Okay, we're going to take turns having the team come up and share their information about their insects. And I'd like you to tell us why you think it's a butterfly or why you think it's a moth. And then Ms. Pop will check, and we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to place it on the board. And when we are finished, we're going to have this mural of different types of butterflies and moths. Let's start out with our first group, which would be Abby's group.
We think this is a moth because it's hairy and what else? It has smaller wings. And what else, Addie? The antennas. The antennas. Yeah. And then
Let me take a look at that and see. Boys and girls, they're correct. That is a moth. Good job.
And then we think that these are butterflies because this one's colorful and this one and they're eating nectar.
In my classroom, having a multi-age classroom, it's wonderful because the students help one another. For example, in my lesson, I had a 3rd grade student that was helping one of my special needs students during their presentation on moths and butterflies. And that student made sure that everyone participated within that group. And my special needs student wasn't really sure what to say, and my 3rd grader helped to elaborate and helped her to come up with some ideas to share with the group. And that's the type of working relationship my students have with one another in the classroom.
We think this one is a moth because it has smaller wings and it has duller colors. And we think this one is a butterfly because it's they're both really like
Let's turn this around.
bright colors and they're on flowers.
Okay, you know what? They are correct. The first one is a moth, the second one is a butterfly. Good job. Who would like to start?
We think this is a butterfly because it has the little clubs on the antenna.
Okay. Boys and girls, would you agree with Katie that that could be a butterfly?
Yes.
Yes, you're correct.
We think this is a butterfly because it's colorful and the antennas are different.
You are also correct. Jacob?
I think this is a butterfly and I think this is a moth.
You know what? It looks a little different, but one is a male and one is a female. But they're the same type of, what did you say it is? A butterfly or moth?
And a moth.
Okay, but you know what? Since they're a male and female, they're both the same. So would you think that both pictures are a butterfly or both pictures are a moth?
I think they're both butterflies.
Yes, good job. That's right. Good job. Everyone needs to feel comfortable in the classroom and feel like they're a very special part of working together in large groups, small groups, and with a multi-age classroom. We have that. It's awesome for all students. Okay. Boys and girls, do you agree with Dominic?
Yes.
Yes, you are right.
We think this is a moth because it has duller color and it's got shorter antennas.
Okay. Did you want to share anything, Johnny, about the moth? That is a moth. All three of you did an awesome job. When I went over to their table, all three students shared with me how they thought they were, why they thought it was a moth or a butterfly. Good job. Let's clap for our three boys. I thought it went well. It was neat that the kids had some prior knowledge and they were able to share that before the lesson started. It seemed like everyone participated. My first, second, third graders, just all of the students during the discussion part felt real comfortable. And then I liked how my students, when they were sharing whether they had the picture of the butterfly or moth, the leaders made sure that everyone had something to say. So everyone felt good about themselves and participated.